Hi, guys. I want to specially welcome you to another edition of Stories. Now, I want to believe that all the episodes you've watched so far has blessed you one way or the other. And just in case you're joining Stories for the first time, I want to welcome you specially and also encourage you to check out all other editions that we have held on Stories, and you will be tremendously blessed. Today, yet again, I have with me in the studio one of the strongest, all right, human I've met. Let me use that word. I have heard things that have made my hair tingle, and you're about to hear things that will make yours tingle also. Now you want to sit back, fasten your seatbelt, because it is about to be a journey. And as usual, I'm just going to allow her hit the ground running. And with me today, I have Adek in the studio. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now, you've shared amazing things, serious things, which I believe the thousands of people we have connected right now can't wait to hear from you. So the floor is yours.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me. My story is a lot. Yeah, but one of my motivation is how others might probably be inspired or gain one or two from the story,
From the
and
story.
how people could see that it's not everything that looks what it is. Sometimes we have our inner battles, but we're just pushing through life, trusting God and coming through out of all the situation. So I happen to be the first child now, daughter in my family of four. We have three girls and one boy. And I was the only child for like 9 years before my siblings started coming.
Really?
Yeah, so I saw the battle my both parents even faced because they had a girl child.
Wow.
So
they faced battle because they had a girl child.
Yeah, so there was even there was a lot.
They didn't want to have a girl child.
No, they didn't have they didn't have a boy child. They keep giving birth to girls. The story is a lot, it's scattered. So but I'll try and arrange it. First of all, I met my parents, who I feel they are product of how most of us young people are today, where you just make decisions out of your feelings or out of what life gives you without even looking into the future, the consequences it could have, on the future. So my both parents are amazing lovers. I would say, I think their love is keeping them because my dad from a home of where his dad has two wives, and the dad neglected his own mother, to take care of his siblings. So he and his mom, the story I heard is him and his mom were selling things in our bar to train the other from his own sibling, because he's the first child as well in his home, So automatically he didn't go to school because of that incident. And he met my mom, who my mom from the other side was from a well-to-do family that they value education and was sending her to school. But along the line, love happened, So
your dad came from a polygamous home.
Yes.
He had to join his mom after his mom's separation from his dad.
Yeah.
To sell in a bar.
Yeah. To support his siblings.
To support the siblings while those ones were going to school.
Yeah.
So you have a dad who is not educated at the moment, with educated siblings.
Yes.
Okay.
And to him, he felt if his siblings have money, he has money, they will take care of his children. But
is that true? Even now?
So out of his siblings, one became very rich, his immediate, but that was not the case. We were still living like we didn't have that rich person in the family. He's late now, and even on his burial, I kept saying, so you were the one that was spotlighted in the family with wealth, and you didn't use your wealth to help the rest of the family. My dad have to even, is always like begging for small money from him, but he's a very loving person. He always gives excuses for a lot of action. So I just decided not to go after him, who was my rich uncle, to ask for aid. And I didn't want to bring disgrace to my dad. I didn't want anybody to take a glory to say, if not for me, Tony's child would not be this.
Would not be in school.
Yeah. So even if I'm hungry, sometimes I sold things in school to push myself through a lot of things that I
Mm.
was doing. I didn't want people to know that I didn't have a lot of things because my mom was the one really like bringing the money and doing a lot of things. So it's
Yes.
like,
So we're going to get into that. I want us to be able to structure it.
okay,
While your dad was helping his mom sell things, he met your mom,
yes,
who is a girl from a well-to-do family, also
yeah,
in school.
yes. But along the line, I don't know what happened, but the story I heard is that she was in school, but she left. I knew she had a child for my dad before I came to the picture, but they lost the child.
She got pregnant.
Yeah, she got pregnant, and now I came to the picture. Her story, she
After how
didn't
many
finish.
years?
I think he's a boy. I think he's senior me for like 5 years or more.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've been together I learned from even her secondary school. Then
Ah,
yeah, so it's just the story of two lovebirds. She really loved my dad, and my dad really loves her. So there's a win-win for both of them. So my mom didn't go to
is
school.
that typical of the case that love is always not enough?
Yes, and that is something I believe. It made me to even grow up not putting love at the first.
Or love alone is not enough?
Love alone is not enough.
Yeah.
There are other factors that I really needed. Yeah, but to them or to my mom, love
Was enough.
was enough. And the societal norm, she felt having a man was the highest. My mom is alarmed. I'm sure she probably like watched this, yeah. So, but she felt having a man or being married was one of the highest achievements, as most people think for women. Because I even saw that play out when I was still pushing myself to go to school. She kept telling me, "This your school is too much. Boys will fear you. You're not going to get married. Every time you want to go to school, you have to calm down so that you can settle down and get married." So I just knew it was a thing of mindset that she had from the very beginning. Yeah, so seeing my both parents, trying to narrow down the story, with their decisions that they made, it informed my own choices. Growing up, seeing I was trying to even be the male child for my dad when he was always having female children. I was trying to be even a tomboy then. I saw how they took away his properties from him. I saw how another guy came to claim that he's my dad's son, even though that they did DNA by his brother, his late brother, to confirm that that was not the son. My granddad had already given him property that, hey, finally Tony don't get son. So love kept them that my dad didn't even go for another woman. Normally in my village, it's okay to have different women, because you're looking for something, but they still stayed together, So I told myself I wasn't going to end up like my parents who did not go to school. I wanted education was a big thing for me. So, but what my parents did for me was what they did not get, they wanted me to have it. So
Yeah.
every time I was always in school. So I literally like grew in school. I only come home during holidays. So when they ever send me out of the village to stay with uncles who are probably in cities because of school, that was the only time I have to stay with people. It's always school, school, school. So at age, I had that decision that I don't want to end up like them. So school was my thing. Even in school, I was like, I was not going to have sex till I'm married. I was not going to have boyfriends. So those things were informing
It
my
kept
own
you.
choices. Yes. At the end of the day, until I got raped at 14 years.
Sorry. You decided you were going to keep yourself
Yes.
till marriage.
Yes.
Then you got raped.
Yeah. When I got to my first high institution at 14, in the high institution then I was in the hostel. I always stay in the hostel for every school I go to most of the time. So it was normal to see girls having boys come around for them. My matron had to even start asking me, why don't you have boys coming to visit you every evening? Abi, you don't like boys. Abi, so she was always like looking out for me why I don't have a boy. So in church, there was a guy that was always talking to me. So I was happy to invite the guy to my hostel.
A church boy.
Yes, from my church. So the boy came and I boldly happily took him to my matron to just show that finally I had a boy come to see me. And she was like, oh, great, you can go out together, come back. You guys can come back, take care of her. She's a very good girl. She has never mingled with guys and all. So I don't know if that's what boosted the boy's confidence. And he told me to escort him. He wants to see his uncle. He's going back to his own school. He wants to introduce me before he leaves. So I followed him out of that. Matron is a parent figure for me in school. So on our way to his uncle's place, the guy started trying to put his hand in my clothes. So I was like, why are you acting very responsible? You should not do that. You're even a church believer, or he now got angry. He was like, "Oh, you're telling me that I'm irresponsible."
You were in the same church.
Yes, he was like, "So you're telling me I'm responsible? Let me show you how a responsible guy behave." Before that statement, he packed his car. I was like, he has headache. He wants to take his drug so he can be fine. So I was like, okay. So when he took the drug, he now brought his hand. I was like, stop, don't do this. Say we are going to your uncle's place, and I'm not even interested. I'm a virgin. And I want to wait. He was like, get out. You will be doing all these lies. So when I now told him he's acting irresponsible, he now, next thing I saw, he was angry. I was even now the one begging him, that, okay, sorry about what I said. He came out, dragged me out. It was just a dragging incident that was happening. I was struggling. He was pulling
The
my
church
clothes.
brother took you out of the vehicle
Yeah, and the road was
and
a
dragged
road.
you.
Yes. Yeah, so he dragged me and, forced himself, threw me on the floor. I used all the energy and power that I had, to struggle till I was overpowered. So at the cost of him trying to penetrate and blood was coming out, he was like, Jesus, so you are a virgin, true, true. I'm so sorry. He now left me and drove off, So
Sorry. He was able to force himself through.
yeah.
When he saw you were bleeding, he left you there
Yeah.
and zoomed off.
Yeah. So I came out, I was just crying.
Of the bush.
Yeah, came out, I was just crying, I was ashamed, and I didn't want even my parents to know. So when someone passed, they were like, what happened? They saw what happened. So they were now like, where are you staying? I said, I'm in the hostel. I kept shouting Metron, Metron. So when they took me to the Metron had to rush me to the general hospital by the side of the school. So immediately I saw they were just trying to they gave me drugs to take, She just kept saying she's sorry, she felt so guilty. I was in the hospital for 3 days, being taken care of by the matron and the nurses. The guy even came. Yeah, the guy came, traced, and came back that he's feeling so sorry that whatever.
He came as what?
He came, I think he came to apologize. I was the one saying.
Was he ever
He
arrested?
should go. No. So I just kept saying that he should go, that I don't even want the story to get to my parent. I was so worried about protecting the story. I needed it to just be with the matron and the nurses that were aware.
Why did you not want the story to get to your parents?
I felt it was going to break my parents, especially my dad.
You were broken already. So why do you care?
I don't know. Maybe at that time, that was all I cared about. So when the guy left, I didn't even have phone. I don't know how to even trace the guy.
Sorry, this brother. And he still continued in church as a church brother?
I didn't say him again. I didn't even go to the church.
He never came to the church again?
You
didn't go to the church again?
Yes.
It was a youth
that
church?
Period. Yes. So I didn't go.
At what point did your parents find out?
They found out in my book when they were launching my book last year. That was when my mom heard the story and she called. I was like, Addie, why did you tell me?
Hey.
They didn't know.
They did not know?
No.
Until you wrote your book?
Yeah. And I had grown, I had faced the battle myself to a point I told myself there was no point being a good girl. I wanted to keep myself. And
someone snatched it.
So I would stand up and follow the girls to where they go out to meet guys. And I was young among them. So when the guys sit down and look at me, I'm like, do you like me? Do you want to sleep with me? Come and have sex with me. That's what you people want. So
you were calling them yourself.
Yes. So, but the boys were like, what's wrong with you? Did something happen? So they ended up protecting me and they didn't want to do anything with me.
At what age was this?
I think I've now grown to 15. So I was just battling.
15 is still young.
Yeah. So
you want to wipe your tears.
So I now went to go, since there was to go at that time. And to go then they used to list different types of groups. So I just saw the lesbian group and I was like, I want to be a lesbian who is available. So immediately someone chatted me and she was like, why do I want to be a lesbian? I was like, I don't want to do anything with boys. I told her the story. So she was like, don't worry, I'll take care of you. She just kept keeping tab at me, like always calling me. Even came from Lagos to see me with gift items. What do I want? That she can take care of me. And also I was happy and was feeling very comfortable to, have a woman in my life. But I, that's when I knew I think God was in the picture the whole
So
time.
when you met someone there who also identified as a lesbian,
Yeah.
and you decided to meet up.
Yes. So she now came to see me, only for her to get to the junction of my address where I was. She kept asking me, "Why do you want to be a lesbian?" I told her. When I told her the story, she was not like, "Let me tell you something. I'm not even a lesbian." That day was even the first time she entered that to go. When she now started seeing somebody shouting, "I want to be a lesbian," so she had to quickly like reach out to me. That she was just talking to me to keep me in check so that nobody comes for me, so that I won't say yes to another person. So she was the one that told me that I can still be a virgin, that there's something called secondary virgin, that if it was taken out of force, I can still hold on to my decision and grow up to whenever I want to have sex. She really spoke to me, and that made me understand that okay, I can still hold on to my values and I'm still a virgin, but secondary virgin. That was the understanding I had. And that was how she entered the vehicle and left. That she have her flight to catch back, that she just came to see that.
She flew down.
Yes. So I didn't even escort her to the airport. Everything happened at that junction. I carried the gifts she gave me. I went back. I was like, God, you know. So at that made me to just still ignore guys. If a guy try to even touch me or ask me out, the old trauma keep coming back. So I just channel all my energy in my school, finish that College of Health, my HND program, environmental health. I now head of public health, has a bigger preventive program.
Yes.
And I called my mom, who has always been sending me to school, that I want to go to school again. She was like, she's done with me. I should go and look for work so that I can support other siblings. Wow. So I told her no problem. She has tried. I went into selling SIM card and a lot of stuff to raise my JAM money for the public health course. For 1 year, really holding on to faith that God should please help me. And before the admission came, I started, because in the College of Health, I started doing HIV programming. My rape incidents pushed me to start going into holding sessions.
When the rape happened, did you get pregnant?
No. That was my console.
Did you contract any disease from it?
The matron ensured the prophylaxis drugs they gave me took care of that. Yes. The only thing I did not want them to do, which they were asking me, was the arrest and legal justice. I said no.
The guy did not hide himself. He took a pill.
Yeah.
Now, with your knowledge, what kind of pill did you think he took that day?
I don't know if it's all these enhancers that he took.
Definitely an enhancer.
Yeah.
So it means that the guy who did the job that day was a serial raper, a rapist.
Or was intentional about his acts.
He knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that was not his first time. He knew where to drive you to. 2 questions. Number 1, why didn't you want justice?
So at first, like I said, I was trying to protect my parent. I didn't want, my village is small. If a story reaches the space, I feel everybody, my parents are already dealing with Tony Bassey, they don't get anything. This one, a woman, they take care of her. That narrative is already there, to a point that they even wrote us as children of poor home. So there were those narratives that were there. So I didn't want to add another kind of narrative to them. So I did that to protect more stories, in my family.
You decided to put yourself on the line. You fought it alone.
Yeah.
Till after you got married and wrote your book.
Yeah. So I felt if I get married, this is when I've now realized that if someone is being raped, apart from taking care of the medical and either justice case, there is the psychological and mental health issue to deal with.
Yes.
So I thought my saying no to guys, was, I felt I was normal. That if I just get married now, of course, I'm going to enjoy sex and do all of those things. But I didn't know I had a damage until I got married. But I only told my husband that this is my story. I've never intentionally had sex and I don't know how the sex pleasure looks like, but you have to be patient with me. I will try. I feel if I'm married, I'll be more relaxed to like, okay, you can now touch me.
God has blessed you with a good man.
Yes.
And we celebrate him. Let's talk about the post-traumatic stress that comes as a result of rape.
Yeah.
First, you saw yourself in a situation where you made a decision. You felt it was not worth it being a good girl anymore. That's one of the implications of the rape mentally.
Like, what's the point?
What's the point? And meaning that you are saying that a rape can lead someone into waywardness.
Yes.
And then the next thing was that you try to become a lesbian.
Yes.
You're saying rape too can short someone's emotions towards men.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Okay, so using my own story as an example, like I said, all the 15 years journey, I never knew I had a mental damage. I had an emotional damage waiting for me at the crossroad until marriage. In fact, even during the first year of marriage, we can have sex once in a month.
Wow.
Yes. Sometimes I feel for him.
Wow.
You know, and this is almost 3 years in marriage. Is a struggle. Sometimes I'm now like, am I okay? Maybe I'm now medically sick. Maybe I need some medical enhancers to make me feel pleasure. I go into conversations with ladies. How do you enjoy sex? What do you feel? Because I think I don't feel what they are feeling. So this is when I know I have this other damage waiting for me. If I wasn't lucky with the kind of man that God gave me,
yes,
this is what leads to the man will go out and, you know, it might even break the marriage and a whole lot of other disaster could happen, or it could lead to me, because if I didn't have values or decisions that I've made, this kind of thing can push me to wanting to go into self-pleasure. A lot of other things can come out of this because I'm trying to find a way to be normal at this point. You know, I've seen other survivors like myself who became sexual addicts, who now they cannot do without sex. So they've gone into most of them have gone into sex.
Nymphomaniacs.
Yes, most of them now they can't do without it, and some have converted it to business. You know, so and if people sometimes want to blame them as like, you need to know some stories behind this. Maybe this is as a result of a post rape trauma that is happening, and then some people hate the men completely. And of course, our society, there is the right thing, that is the right issues that are there, that you can choose to do what you need to do with your body. So many people have now started debating to derive pleasure from fellow women and avoid men completely. Then we have the high rise of sexual pleasures that are ongoing. These are decisions and behaviors that are coming out of, most of the time, an outcome of a rape incident. Yeah. Then we have some people now that they just want to watch the incident happen.
Watch how?
Yeah. I saw this in one of the school that I went to. Because someone has been raped before,
yeah,
she wants to see the scene happen. She bring boys, they pay, she force girls, you sleep with the girl, and then she just enjoy watching it happen. Yeah, so that is also there because of, so it's not like a revenge. They did this to me. You know, some people that have even had diseases along the line, they also want to share it. So a lot of things, ripple effects are happening because of just an incident that people are struggling to deal with. And I don't know if it's a country thing, but there are less interventions that focus on healing. You know, even I mean, I'm also a rape programmer. I'm also a DD programmer now. You know, but my aspect of programming is focused on survival's approach, because I'm more focused on healing. I'm more focused on people. Even if you're doing the medical care, don't push a survivor to rush and go into justice first. Because it took me more than 15 years to even be normal to be talking about it and be going into interventions. And I'm still having this battle of sexual issue here. So I don't think I'm completely fine. but I'm just being strong and pushing through, you know. So I feel even programmers should start paying attention to therapeutic programs that enhance healing, you know, where people can meet themselves. Oh, you've been raped before, but this is how I deal with it. This is what is happening. People need to know because most people shy about it. They don't mention it. Most people are even they are even married now, and their partners are not even enjoying them. Some men, when they try to have sex with their woman or their wife, the woman internally her vagina repels, like she rejects them, and the man will feel you don't love me, and the man goes out to cheat, not knowing that this woman is dealing with something. You know, sometimes the man could finish doing what he's doing, she didn't feel a thing. You
You
know,
know, I think there was a time in the Nigerian church that the basis for dispute was faith without drugs. Later, the church matured to understand that the fact that you use medications doesn't mean you are faithless. I think the phase that we are right now is the phase of trying to understand that therapy is not a sign that the Holy Ghost is not powerful. God has made the knowledge available that the same way the body needs healing, and there are forms of approach, either preventive or curative, to take care of the body. In that same manner, the mind
needs
its own attention and healing.
Yeah.
We thank God for the authority of scriptures, talking about the renewing of the mind. But there are specialized approach and method to get into different kind of issues, from trauma to grief recovery, and to all forms of issues that has to do with the soul.
True.
You know, because what you are talking about today is so powerful, and it has destroyed many homes.
It has.
Now, why do you think you are more focused on just people getting healed and not justice?
Okay.
Was it because healing took you time?
Yeah. First of all, healing took me time. So I just conclude and see that it takes time for people to heal. And if we're trying to do intervention for people that have been raped, I mean, the medical care is very good, because if it didn't come in from, maybe I would have ended up with a disease or pregnancy. I don't know how the storyline would have been. Because I told myself, if I'm pregnant before marriage, someone like me, I can run and never come back to that vicinity. A lot of things can happen, you know. So medical care is good. The 74 hours of forensic evidence, because sometimes at the time that when this is happening, people cannot capture evidence. And when we want to go to justice or legal, if you don't have the right evidence to prove that this rape really happened, most of the time, the survivor doesn't win the case. The perpetrator ends up winning the case because they have a lot of proof to show that this did not happen, you know, and it end up, you know, exposing the survivor to the court process, to the data collection process, a whole lot of things, and causing more harm, more injury to the survivor than even good. Because at the end of the day, sometimes survivors tell you, don't worry about the case, let's stop it. Because they know how the back and front goes. So for me,
the process
the process itself
is
needs
excruciating.
Yes. And like I tell people, if you collect the data of a survivor at the beginning, please use a fake name if you're now pushing the data out for intervention. If someone's name is Adegbasi, don't use Adegbasi, you know, on the write a fake name and said fake name. Even when the person is supposed to go to court for the legal this thing, don't use the person. Use another person standing in for Adegbasi. You know, if you have your evidence to fight the justice and the case is won, then the person can go to prison, you know, and face all the consequences that come with his rape action. But the survivor should be protected until she's healed.
I'm ready for it.
Until she's healed. Because even now, people tell me, Adeg, you mean you've been doing this work as well, trying to help other people. Why not point who your rapist is and let them go and arrest and enter prisons? Like, I'm not even ready for that.
Can you identify him?
I can't even identify him because I saw him just that time I've left Calabar. It happened in Calabar. I've left Calabar. My life.
If you see him now amongst the crowd, you can't identify him.
I don't know if I can. I was a teenager and he was a youth at that
And
time.
there's a very important question I want to ask you. Years ago, when this happened, you didn't want justice because you didn't want this to go out to your family. You authored this book,
Yes, sir.
The Woman Fool. You can get this book on Seller, all right? I recommend this book personally. The media will put the link, and now you can get it on all platforms. They'll put it there so you can get on those platforms. Now, you shared your story here in this book. How did you journey from being the girl who didn't want the trouble of justice to being confident to sharing your own story? And now we're having this interview session with your face uncovered.
Yeah.
And your name out there.
Yeah.
And your book out there. Because everything you're sharing here is also in this book, in more detailed form. How did you journey to being this person? And yes, answer that question, then the next.
Okay, so what pushed me to come out and always started sharing was the reoccurrence of the same incidents happening among other young girls. Yeah, I see it on a rise, even from all level of my school or places I'm going to. I see even where some girls get pregnant, a whole lot of things are happening. So I felt as I share, my primary aim of sharing is to prevent, is to let people know that there was a point I was even blaming myself that I did not learn the art of being assertive. So now it even helped people to start programming how to train young ones how to be assertive, because sometimes I felt if I even knew how to respond at the point where he tried putting his hand in my clothes, I would have found a way. Even now I teach people how to prevent rape when it wants to happen at that point. You'll find a way to play around it. Let's go to the room and have sex. You don't have to. That would have salvaged the situation. I tell myself that. So it pushed me to start sharing so people can get the storyline of they need to learn how to be assertive. They need to know how to prevent where you're going to, if I felt if I went out with someone else, apart from just me being alone with the guy in the car, such wouldn't have happened.
And that you've matched two things, being assertive and being compliant.
Yeah.
And the both are strategies depending on the situation you find yourself.
Yeah, so there are different preventive measures now. So the goal of prevention pushed me to start sharing. My first engagement of sharing was when UNICEF, contacted me to talk about rape issue, and they wanted people to know that they are survivors of these rape issues.
You run an NGO?
Yes, sir.
Is it focused on this subject?
Yes.
Primarily.
Our core program thematic area is on reproductive health. Yes. SRHR, because we are focused more on survival-centered approach. We're focused more on GBV protection approach. And we are focused more on young people. My targets are adolescent 10 to 35 years, because I feel this is the peak, this is the period. I mean, it might happen when I was 14. I know there are younger ones that are 13. Going through the same process. Yes, people are going through this process and they don't even know how to come out of it. People are making decisions. A lot of things are happening at this time frame. And even as I'm running my organization, I see a lot of interventions going on for young people. And sometimes I'm not trying to run down other people's programming style, but I just see like a scratch. They don't pay attention to the developmental phase of young people, that at every stage, there are things people need to know.
I love what you're saying. What you're saying is that sometimes when a rape incident happens, there is this urgency to focus on, justice, let the guy be arrested, then the medical implications in the now.
And then
there are implications that comes at different phases of life.
Different phases, yes.
For instance, there is the implication that comes maybe some years after.
Yeah.
When the person feels not worthy of being a woman and may either make the decisions you almost wanted to make, like either becoming a lesbian, becoming wayward and all that, or 18 men. True. And all that. Those are possibilities.
Yes.
Then there are also other applications that can come at the junction of marriage.
Yes. At every stage, because there is adolescent stage, there is youthful stage. So every stage has development happens. If you've experienced anything, those things also inform your behaviors at the end of the day. Sometimes when you see an adolescent or a youth behaving certain type of ways, if you trace it down to history, something must have happened.
Yes.
Yeah, there was even a time that I almost wanted to be addicted to smoking as a means of handling my anger issues.
You smoked?
Yeah, but I stopped it.
You smoked for how many months? How many years?
That again, my parents never even knew I smoked. I don't know if they know now.
What did you smoke?
St. Maurice then. It was a means of putting my anger down.
St. Maurice?
Yeah,
Rosmas?
Yes, I was influenced in a movie. You know, when I saw one of the characters, whenever she's angry, she smokes and then she calms down. So it became part of me.
Was it able to calm you then?
Yes, it became part of me that I could smoke a pack to be okay. You know, it was one guy doing NYC who was doing his CDS, you know, but whenever I talk,
you smoked till NYC?
No, he was doing NYC. I went for my IT after my HND.
You smoked for how long?
I smoked from secondary school till I finished my HND. That's 4 years. But nobody knew. I'm sure they've known now. I'm not smoking anymore.
You know that, definitely.
Yeah, but nobody knew this. Yeah, so the influence came. It was a habit for me to fight anger.
Did you develop church odds as a result of this? Because when the guy who raped you was from a church.
I didn't trust people in church.
Did you stop going to church?
No. Somehow, I don't know. Somehow, I still draw strength from God. I still draw strength from the church community.
But you know that was enough to have stopped you.
Yes.
But you were in church, but you were not really opening up to anyone.
Yeah, so the guy, he told me, Adek, you have a lot to say and you say your goal is to impact life. How will you feel if you stand up on a stage to impact life and then the same way they hear you that you smoke to calm your temper? Don't you think it will affect the children you want to change their life? So he now gave me a bag of pure water that whenever you're angry and you're choked, just be drinking water until you're down. So I had to fight the thing because of the reason he gave me. And I really wanted to be this person that my voice transformed lives. I didn't want anything to block that chance of me making impact, you know. So I had to start learning how to take water. Even till now, if I'm angry, the first thing I want to reach is water. Even my husband knows sometimes the addiction thing happens. I could just keep my hand and playing with stick like this. Yes.
Sometimes your hand just go.
Yes. So
the shape of a cigarette.
Yeah. Right now, I became intentional in protecting that behavior. I don't go around where people smoke. I don't go to parties. I became intentional in not falling back. You know, I feel like even if I'm to go to a place that nobody knows Adek, the me inside, maybe I could take
want
a
to
stick.
smoke.
Yes.
Even now.
I feel that. So it's something I fight not to go into it. Yeah. So it make me to teach people that behavior is endemic. If something sticks,
true.
If something sticks and you're trying to intervene, their approaches to this thing, you know, it's a whole lot. That's why I said my story is a whole lot. But at the end of the day, it has made me to do what I'm doing. It has made me to even be the addict that her voice wants to transform a lot of lives. And I still want to focus on young people. The book was focused on women because I saw my mom's decision, you know.
Apart from the somatic pain, the psychological pain, there's the body pain that you admit. And I love this story because sometimes people, even those who listen, don't know how to listen. People think that a person's story is only ready when the person is completely healed. And what many people don't realize is that there is a form of relief that comes with sharing your story when there is now purpose attached to the pain. So I love the fact that there is a new phase of healing that you're about to experience and is still in progress.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are not shying away from that, will help those who have gone through that or who are currently going through that to know that they are not stupid for going through that. It is the natural occurrence, a precaution of what has been done to violate you at some point. Psychologically, the PTSD that comes because of that, have you recovered from that?
That I don't think I have, because I feel for my husband even now. Sometimes he asks me, "Do you feel anything?" Sometimes I will just like smile and like, yes. But sometimes at the cost of it, I can tell him stop. And he has to stop. Because I just start being aggressive and pushing. But he knows how to control himself. He will just cuddle me and then we sleep off. So in a month, we can have sex once. And these are married couples. We just get busy with work. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. People don't understand. People are even now trying to mock me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure he's fine?
I don't know. Maybe when he has that conversation. But he tells me I don't know.
A man sometimes may decide to keep his pain if yours seems greater.
I feel he's not.
You will overcome.
So I don't know. I feel right now, if there is maybe a medical care, I ask myself, maybe.
Was there any diagnosis apart from that, like vaginosis, stuff like that?
I'm fine. I've done all the medical.
Nothing.
Yeah. So even now, I still feel pain even during any penetration.
So it's psychosomatic.
Yeah. So I don't know if I was asking him, should we go and ask for a drug to make me derive pleasure? I mean, I've done the tiger nut thing to, get you ready. It doesn't work for me.
It doesn't.
Sex irritates me. So he was even asking me, do you want to have sex just to have baby so we can have children, or you want to enjoy sex? I said, I want the both. I don't know what people feel. Even when I went to Ghana, I was training some women and they were very expressive. I went down to ask they should describe what sexual pleasure means. When they were describing sexual pleasure with all amount of excitement, I went back and cried because I can't feel what they are feeling. If my decisions are not intact, maybe.
And you were never circumcised as a child, female genital mutilation?
No, I wasn't. So I feel I'm seeing the other effects coming now after a very long time without knowing. Maybe if I had engaged in sexual intercourse at that time, maybe I would have fought it and overcome it till now. But we are going through the battles together, and we were hoping during church counseling, during the marriage, they would teach us sex. He never had sex before marriage as well. He was just a good guy that was waiting to get married. My own case was different because I was dealing with trauma. So we were hoping, during the class or counseling, they would tell us, how to have sex. We kept asking and they were laughing. If I asked people,
and that's one thing about religion.
Yeah.
Religion is brutal.
Yeah, if I'm asking, how do people have sex? I'm like, the God will show you. Don't worry, when you get there.
There's a story. There's a story I heard, and it's a real story. This guy got married and didn't know about sex, didn't know anything. And they were trusting God for a child. It was after 2 years that he and the wife discovered that they've been having anal sex. And I was worried. It was troubling because if the man didn't know, should the woman not know her own body? It's just this culture of silence that if I talk, it's going to feel I'm a bad girl, mommy Gio, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow. So even now, if I ask, even if someone like Adeka, this thing, there's no assumption. I'm like, okay, it's not something we can ask somebody.
So sometimes a part of you is saying, maybe it could have been better if you had been bad girl after the rape incident.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. on your wedding night, did you bleed?
We didn't have sex.
When you eventually did,
Yes, I did.
you bled again.
Yeah. And even till now, I still feel pains whenever he wants to trust him.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to the doctor. He said I'm fine. I should just work on my mind. So easy to say, work on your mind. I just feel I don't understand. How do I work on my mind? I thought marriage was going to help me. You know, this is a man, you're married, you should be free. I'm free because I'm allowing him to touch me, but in my mind has his own thing, his own. I believe I'll work through it as well.
You're a fighter. And your name by implication means strong.
Yes, sir.
Adek. Strong.
Yes, sir. Maybe the story is for someone when I eventually overcome it. That's why I always tell myself, if things happen to me, maybe when this cup pass and I share it to help somebody.
Why are you sharing it today?
Because nobody has asked me this part of me.
Have you ever read or seen anyone's story that was detailed enough to help you in your journey?
I have, but they don't come out like this.
Because you are coming out fully.
Yeah, I ask question. I ask even as simple as how do people have like sex? People like like no. They just laugh at us. You know. Somebody like big girl like you're already doing this job. You should know. Everybody just feel you know. We just swallow it up. We know, and we're laughing that even our parents will not teach you this thing. They just assume they're telling you have baby, and I'm not like, do you know if we know how to go through the process?
Babies are not product of
baby?
let there be, right?
Yeah. But we'll go through it. I don't even know if anybody's watching this. Are there special programs for people like us?
There are.
Okay.
And I was just going to talk about that. At Light Nation Church, we walk people through the process.
Okay.
The curriculum was built with a lot of intentionality, factoring different kind of situations that people can find themselves in.
Okay.
Probably because of my field of study and my wife also being a therapist. And now that we're also commencing Institute for Trauma Recovery,
Okay.
Matters like these are matters that we have helped people recover from. We have high success rate dealing with matters like this. I'm very familiar with this matter. All these kind of cases that we have ever received, we have helped 100%. So I feel, I was not going to say it publicly, but I was just like, okay, this is it. This is where we step in.
Okay.
We know what to do. From the medical perspective,
Okay.
and we know the question to ask, and we know what you should do going forward. And but there's also a part of it that we should not be in denial of as people of faith, where you make confessions that you are going to live fully as a woman and you will enjoy sex with your husband. There is the part of that that comes as a balance. You know, that if there's a psychosomatic aspect, there's a part of now receiving grace also from God. To just talk about grace and not also get into the psychosomatic aspect might be tilting to an extreme. And to also talk about that and not talk about the grace from God might also be tilting to an extreme. So there's a balance of the both.
Okay.
And all that. There might be something you are forgetting. You spoke about the time that you almost experienced female genital mutilation. Talk about that.
Okay, yeah, so I remember when...
In case you don't know what female genital mutilation means, it is the removal. I call it violence against women, all right? It's part of the element of GBVs. It's the removal of the female clitoris, all right? And that's the part that receives sensitivity. even as talking any sexual activities. If there's any part where a woman gets to have pleasure, all right, that's the clitoral part, and it's removed.
Yeah.
That's FGM. So you're almost mutilated.
Yeah, so in my place, it's a thing of culture, you know.
It's a culture.
Yeah, then I think now education must have reduced it, but then,
Education has not reduced it.
yeah, so but then it's a thing of culture. Like my grandmom, when I came for holiday, because I love dancing, so she enrolled me to also go through my own circumcision, you know, that to help me to bend if I'm dancing. So I was actually on the queue for my own turn because it's a normal thing. That's what you do to join the girls in dancing, or else you can't join them, you know. So the first girl, the girl I was behind went. Her name is Enigbe, late Enigbe. She's late. So when she went,
She died.
Yeah. So she
as a
screamed,
result of the.
Yes.
Hold on. She died as a result of the mutilation.
Yes. So what happened as she went in? You know, I heard a very loud scream, like scream of pain. For a while, it now stopped. We saw how they carried her, like out of the room to clear space for next
on the table.
Yeah. So
of the mutilation.
Yeah. So they now said next. So I ran.
And they still went on.
Yes, because there were many girls on the queue. So as I saw the blood, because we could see the blood like when they were passing with her. So I just fear. You know, all the girls in the village waited for it. I was the one that is come for holiday. So me, I ran. They were even looking for me. I went to one of the stream in the village. I hid myself till like night. They were looking for my mom. Was like, "You should hold that to do." She, you know, it's what grandma wants, and it was something just normal. Yeah. So the only thing they did to compensate the Enigbe's family was to create a song. I remember in December, then every December, still the dance group that got mutilated, you know, we're now singing Enigbe Nkonkono. So that's like a cultural dance, you know, in honor of Enigbe. So that was how I escaped FGM, because I think I would have, and maybe, you know, I would have faced that battle as well.
Wow.
It's a cultural practice that needs to stop.
It's going on around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is me lending my voice to it. Stop female genital mutilation. It is violence against women. It's not right. We have never had it this raw on stories where people are, because I asked you again and again that do you want a covered edition? But already your book has put you out.
Yeah.
All your stories are here. If someone picks this book, what should I expect from it?
If someone picks this book, they will get to understand how a woman fully works, from her feelings, from the perception. You know, it addresses a lot of social, societal norms that are existing now, where there are a lot of perks on women and girls. It makes women find themselves, find their purpose. You know, it makes people have a sense of fulfillment, and even the choice of marriage in terms of you don't marry for love alone. You have to go for a partner that has something that can complement, you know, where you're going, and you both, because that's what is keeping us. You know, it's not the feelings. Feelings is one of it. What is keeping us is we walking through the journey of life together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a whole lot. I mean, there's a part of where I was trying to force God for a man, you know, who I felt was the one. That part is there. So I was trying to confirm to his conditions. He told me, I don't like my wife to be a public person. You already are a public person. You do programs. If I marry, my wife will be sacred. She doesn't go out. She just have children. I was ready to stop fulfilling purpose for the guy because of
you were ready to stop.
I was ready to stop. He said he doesn't like ladies that wear makeup. I stopped wearing makeup, you know. And my husband today was my friend, and he was like, "Do you really like this guy that you are changing?"
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, he knew about. He would watch me.
He was friend zoned then.
Yes, he watched me do video call with this guy. You know, until I told myself, I think I'm forcing this guy to.
Was he already in love with you while you were doing all that?
I think he was, but he didn't tell me.
Hey, it's bro code. Wow, really?
Yeah, until when I told the guy off that I think I'm forcing.
You know, sometimes you may desire someone who doesn't have the capacity for your journey.
True. I feel he would have divorced me if he had even experienced half.
Many men would have.
Yeah.
You know how I met you? Instagram.
Wow.
You tagged me to a story. I checked the story. I reposted. And that's not what I do often. I have a team that helps with my media.
Wow.
So I decided to check. And I saw a very happy person. And very happy soul. And I saw some of the things you do, and I was like, then I saw that you were in church. So that was why I said, that is that Hadek? Because the name stuck. Because I was like, oh God, okay, this person is in church. But here you are. For how many years now?
In Abuja?
No, from the rape till now.
We're 14. I'm 30, going to 31 now.
That's 17 years.
Yeah.
For 17 years, you've carried this baggage.
And this side is just coming out. The sexual side, I didn't know.
So at some point before marriage, there you were, the girl who thought she had healed.
Yes, because I was not involved with guys. I was not doing anything. I was just focused on myself.
Just the moment you got married,
that's when I realized.
You discovered that there was a monster waiting. You will overcome.
Amen.
And you will be glad that God brought you out. And if there's a word you want to tell women who are going through this at the moment, maybe not necessarily a rape per se. It could be matters of female genital mutilation, like you said, GBV,
Yeah.
gender-based violence. First to the woman. If there's a word you're going to tell any woman who is going through this, who has gone through any traumatic experience around this, and now they are struggling to be intimate with their partner, their husband, what will that word be?
I would say don't be silent. Don't keep it to yourself. Speak out. The help might not come like you want it, but just speak out. Like, I'm happy that I spoke out now, and hearing the other side of there's a system that will help me go through this, I feel better. If we speak out, we will get help.
Are you not afraid that now that this is out, some girls are going to be interested in your husband?
I'm not afraid because I know who I'm with. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not afraid.
God bless him.
Try anyhow. He doesn't even look at people.
Amazing. So what word, if you're going to advise a man who is married to a woman who is struggling sexually, seeing what both of you are going through, what counsel would you give such a man?
For a man, I would say, know that you need to really understand the woman that you're with. Don't assume that she's okay. You know, if you find out anything that she's struggling with, support her to get help.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel, if my husband hearing the story that I'm sharing, he'll be like, God, you're exposing us and all. But I know that, but I know that he's very supportive. He will wave it and stand by me. Most times I go to programs and I share. He pays more attention to me. How do you feel? You know, he doesn't care what people say. So for the men, just really show your wife that you can support her through this journey, because it's really a journey. And if both of you walk through the path and she gets healed, you will definitely have your wife back. You know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I just heard someone in my spirit, someone saying, Apostle, if you are going to counsel them and take this up, what about those of us online? Let me speak to the men. In case there's a man who is married to someone and he's an experience at the moment. Rule number 1, sex doesn't begin on the bed. That's the first rule. That's why I call it a psychosomatic issue, in the sense that there's a psychological aspect that is not making the woman feel stimulated. The anatomy of a woman is designed in such a way that when a woman is aroused, the pathway is designed to naturally be stimulated. All right. It's God saying, I've created a path for you to welcome your man. So the psychological aspect is making the woman see sex as a chore. All right. See it as a work or the reminder of the bruise of the past because it was snatched in the first time. So there is no stimulation. Sometimes there are symptoms like not being wet, being dry. So force won't work. Complaints won't work. Fighting won't work. Name calling won't work. Threat won't work. You know what works? Patience and getting the right help. Romance is beyond what you do just when you want a woman's back on the bed. Mm. Romance in itself is so now you have gotten her to love you enough to marry you. There is the other aspect that is patience to get her to love you enough to be stimulated. First, it begins with her not minding the pain. Because sometimes people say that this is just psychological issue. The pain is not true. No, it's true.
Sure.
It's true. One, the muscle memory, the other one, other things. There could be other things, many other things. It could be distortion of the normal flora. It could be many other things. All right. So there is little to what I can say online. I've said quite a lot already. And that's because I just feel we can't leave this conversation open-ended for the sake of those who are going through that. But at the same time, there's a need for medical verification to be sure if beyond the psychological aspect, there are also physiological aspects where anything could be happening and then maybe not suspected. That is also there. All right. But at the end of the day, make sure you get real help. Make sure you reach out. And, ADEC social media platform, everything is on your screen right now so that you can be able to follow up. All right. And then you can also learn, all right, from a woman who has gone through and who understand what it means to be in the fight. All right. In this aspect, because this, and I say this, that this is a conversation that church people don't have. And because we get sometimes to be conservative around things like this, there are people who have genuine questions and concerns. There's a young girl who is married and is wondering, is there something wrong with me? Or am I not, experiencing this? Because many people out there still think that once you get married, sex is automatic. People don't know.
Our friends will say, you can enjoy.
People don't know that even in cases where there are no issues, two virgins getting married, there are things to expect. And sometimes church people don't talk about it in counseling. You see. I think we might be at a point where we'll be willing to share knowledge with younger ministries and ministers who want to have curriculums in these aspects to be wholesome, and then to make sure that this curriculum is all encompassing and then not just one-sided. I love this conversation because it is real. I love this conversation because people can identify and say, I'm seeing myself in her. Maybe a man is watching this and right now he's thinking about leaving the wife. That's saying that he's done. And now he's seeing that love in itself is not a feeling. It is commitment. Mm. That your battle becomes our battle. Your fight becomes our fight. Together, we're going to win. And that's where delayed gratification comes in. ADEC, you're a fighter. A fighter. And I know what you have shared today is less than 10% of your story. You have other aspects. Yes. May I request that we need to have you again on this show to talk about other aspects, but that's going to take time after the journey and all that again.
Yeah.
And it's been over an hour on the show today. Is there something more you want to say?
I'm fine with this. Let's go into healing.
Wow. Just before we go, can you run us through how your NGO works, how people can contact you, and if people want to partner with your NGO, how can they? And all that as touching what you do. Yes, please.
Okay, the name of my organization is Today for Tomorrow Initiative.
Today for Tomorrow Initiative. Is it on Instagram?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Today for Tomorrow.
Right. I want the media to put it on Instagram as she's talking. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a youth-led organization that is focused on programming for young people. And we deal with human-centered development issues to see that they're accurately informed to build their development aspect of their life, and also deal with reproductive health issues.
Yes.
Still focus on young people. And now you know why I'm doing a lot of reproductive programming.
Yes.
And then lastly, it deals with economic strengthening issues where young people are being exposed to information that help them fight poverty. I mean, also linking to my background as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are some behavioral practice young people need to do to fight poverty.
So in a nutshell, you are turning your pain to purpose.
Yes, so I actually so my organization is one channel of achieving my purpose. The book
Wow.
is another channel. So we've programmed for young people on the streets for 3 years in Calabar. We have street children we have been working with. We're currently in Adamawa State programming for young women and girls affected by displacement for
IDPs.
5 years now. Yeah. So we work with other young girls that are living with disability, living with HIV, single parents, young girls that got unplanned pregnancy and became unplanned parents. So we also do special programs for them. So people can partner.
You've been
with
to how
us.
many countries with this?
I've been to 3 countries based
Wow.
on programs. Yes, Thailand, Switzerland, and Rwanda.
My God.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Ghana. Ghana is a country.
Yes, Ghana. Yeah.
Ghanaian, sorry guys. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes,
Akwaba.
Ghana.
All right.
So,
You went to Ghana too.
So my work has my pain actually became a purpose for me. I tell people, find your purpose, and in it lies what becomes your vocation at the end of the day. So I literally resigned from working in 2018, and I've been doing this all my life. The struggle is there, but I found myself operating. Of course, this work falls under the NGO operation, so that's why we are registered legal NGO in Nigeria. We've partnered with some UN agencies, some national organizations. We are open for more partnership. If it's something you're interested in, focus on young people. That's my very key, 10 to 35 years. We're open to that. Nigeria is the major target, but right now we've implemented in Cross River, Adamawa. We've done programs in Rivers State, Anambra. So right now I'm on a mission to, young people are everywhere and they need this information.
And you're doing this whilst you are still trusting God for your own complete healing.
Yeah.
You're in the last phase of it.
Amen.
Thank you, Adek.
Thank you, sir.
It's been such a very emotional one on this show today. I have never felt like this on any of the episodes of stories we've had. I think each episode just has its own unique impression that it brings on your soul. And I just sense in my spirit, and this is the first time I'll be doing this on any episode of Story, to pray with anyone who is currently going through a phase like this, that the Lord himself will heal you completely.
Amen.
Any form of rejection you have been feeling because of your pain, that vacuum is healed.
Amen.
And whatever is left, God takes care of it.
Amen.
Receive grace to finish.
Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for connecting with us on this episode of Stories. This is indeed a story of a young but strong woman who is defying all odds beyond the shores of Nigeria, bringing healing to people and converting her pain to purpose. We look forward to having you on another edition of Stories again next week, Saturday. Don't forget to like, share, and come on, there might be someone that needs to see this, and that will only happen when you share it across all platforms. Share your thoughts across your platforms. Let's know how this particular story has impacted you. And I can't wait to read from you. Have a nice time till next week. Bye-bye.